Ladies and gentlemen, let us all rise for the arrival of the Honorable Senate President and the Senators of the Republic of the Philippines.
Plug siya na yung pa naman. The 37th session of the Senate in the third regular session of the 17th Congress is hereby called to order. Senator Emmanuel Manny Pacquiao will lead the chamber in prayer.
Let's bow down our head and pray. Our gracious and loving Father, Creator of heaven and earth, in Jesus' name, Lord, we come before your holy presence with thanksgiving. We praise and thank you for another opportunity to come together to discuss matters on national importance. As servant leaders, we entrust to you our dreams, our hopes, our plans, and aspirations for our nation. By your grace, we shall fulfill our calling as salt and light of this earth. By your love, we shall serve with compassion. By your wisdom, we shall serve with excellence and integrity. As we abide in your presence, we shall experience breakthrough after breakthrough. We declare that you are able to do exceedingly, abundantly, far above we could ever ask or imagine. You are the one who makes miracles happen. In humility, we fully surrender to your holy and perfect will. In the name of Jesus, our Lord and Savior, everybody say amen.
Amen. The Senate Choir will lead us in the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. The Secretary will please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 14 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the Journal of the 36th Session, Wednesday, November 21st, 2018. Consider the same as approved.
Any objection? No objection from Senator Pimentel. Therefore, motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, today in the agenda, our distinguished colleague, Senator Emmanuel Manny Pacquiao, will be delivering a privileged speech, but we've asked if he can deliver his speech after several third reading measures with the permission of the body, Mr. President.
Yes, so may we,
Yes, sir.
before we act on any motion of the Majority Leader, may we inform our colleagues that as agreed upon with the Majority Leader, we shall be having third readings and thereafter a short privilege speech by Senator Pacquiao. But we would like to invite an all-senator caucus requested by the Chairman of the Committee on Finance in the Senator's Lounge thereafter. Thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, with that, I move to resume consideration of House Bill number 8302. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of the House Bill 8302 is in order.
And for the record, Mr. President, for all the third reading measures, all copies of the bills were distributed to all the members complying with the three-day rule of the Constitution. With that, Mr. President, I move that we vote on third reading House Bill number 8302. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, the Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 8302, an act granting More Electric and Power Corporation a franchise to establish, operate, and maintain for commercial purposes and in the public interest a distribution system for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in the City of Iloilo, Province of Iloilo, and to ensure continuity and uninterrupted supply of electricity and similar public services in the said area. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 15 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, House Bill 8302 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Joint Resolution number 13. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
President, I move that we
Consideration
vote. I move that we vote on third reading. Senate
Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
Senate Joint Resolution number 13, Joint Resolution extending the maintenance, availability, and release of the funds created pursuant to Republic Act number 10368 as amended by Republic Act number 10766, specifically such funds in the Land Bank of the Philippines until December 2019 to ensure payment of qualified human rights violations victims and authorizing the Commission on Human Rights to administer the effective distribution thereof. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 16 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, Senate Joint Resolution number 13 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 6724. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of the measure is in order.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading House Bill number 6724.
Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 6720, an act changing the name of Lupon School of Fisheries in Lupon, Davao Oriental into the Davao Oriental Polytechnic Institute. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 15 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, House Bill 6724 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1240. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, consider the measure is in order.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading Senate Bill number 1240.
Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
Senate Bill number 1240, an act upgrading the position of the Provincial Science and Technology Officer into the Provincial Science Director in the Department of Science and Technology, amending Republic Act number 6959, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 16 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, Senate Bill 1240 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 5640. I so move.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of the measure is in order.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading House Bill number 5640.
Secretary will conduct a roll call vote after reading the title.
House Bill number 5640, an act declaring September 3 of every year a special working public holiday throughout the country in commemoration of the surrender of the Japanese military forces led by General Tomoyuki Yamashita in Baguio City. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
16 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention. House Bill 5640 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 5565. I so move. Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of the measure is in order.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading House Bill number 5565.
Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 5565, an act declaring January 24 of every year a special working holiday in the province of Palawan and the city of Puerto Princesa in honor of the martyrdom of Governor Higinio Acosta Mendoza Sr., to be known as Governor Higinio Acosta Mendoza Sr. Day. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
17 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention. House Bill 5565 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill numbers 6707. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of the measure is in order.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading House Bill number 6707.
The Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 6707, an act extending for another 25 years the franchise granted to Raven Broadcasting Corporation under Republic Act number 8084, entitled An Act Granting Raven Broadcasting Corporation a franchise to construct, maintain, and operate radio and television broadcasting stations within Luzon and other areas in the Philippines where frequencies and/or channels are still available for radio and television broadcasting. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 17 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, House Bill 6707 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 6431.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of the measure is in order.
I move that we approve on third reading House Bill number 6431.
Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 6431, an act granting Bohol Chronicle Radio Corporation a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain radio broadcasting stations in the province of Bohol. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
17 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention. House Bill 6431 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 6708. I so move.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of the measure is in order.
I move that we approve on third reading House Bill number 6708.
Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 6708, an act extending for another 25 years the franchise granted to Advanced Media Broadcasting System, Inc. under Republic Act number 8061, entitled An Act Granting the Advanced Media Broadcasting System, Inc. a franchise to construct, install, operate, and maintain radio and television broadcasting stations in the Philippines. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
17 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention. House Bill 6708 is approved, the third reading.
Mr. President, I move to resume consideration House Bill number 6316. I so move.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Consideration of the measure is in order.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading House Bill number 6316.
Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 6316, an act granting Northeastern Broadcasting Services, Inc. a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain radio and television broadcasting stations in Isabela Province and Region 2. Roll call vote, Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
17 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention. House Bill 6316 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 6315. I so move, Mr. President.
The consideration of the measure is in order, if there's no objection.
Mr. President, move to approve on third reading House Bill number 6315.
The Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 6315, an act granting the Volunteer Life Care Ministries, Inc. a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain non-commercial radio broadcasting stations in the Philippines. Roll call vote, Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
17 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention. House Bill 6315 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move to resume consideration House Bill number 6170. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of the measure is in order.
Mr. President, I move to approve on third reading House Bill number 6170.
Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 6170, an act extending for another 25 years the franchise granted to RMC Broadcasting Corporation under Republic Act number 8159 entitled An Act Granting the DXRA RMC Rizal Memorial Colleges Broadcasting Corporation a franchise to construct, establish, operate, and maintain a commercial radio broadcasting station in the Philippines and for other purposes. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 17 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention. House Bill 6170 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration House Bill number 6169.
Any objection? There being none, consider the measure is in order.
Mr. President, I move to approve on third reading House Bill number 6169.
The Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 6169, an act extending for another 25 years the franchise granted to the Philippine Broadcasting Corporation under Republic Act number 7962, entitled An Act Granting the Philippine Broadcasting Corporation a franchise to construct, install, operate, and maintain radio and television broadcasting stations within the Philippines and for other purposes. Roll call vote, Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 17 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, House Bill 6169 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, before we acknowledge Senator Manny Pacquiao for his privileged speech, we'd just like, with the permission of the body, move to proceed with the Senate President's designation of additional Senate conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 1280 and 8374. I believe the list is with you, Mr. President.
The following members, or
Just
the
one member.
following member
Yes, sir.
is hereby designated as additional Senate conferee to the Bicameral Conference Committee. Senator Mig Zubiri.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, with the permission of the body, I move that we proceed as well with the designation of additional Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of Senate Bill number 2059 and 4814. This is on the tax amnesty, Mr. President.
Senator Mixubiri is designated as additional Senate conferee to the Bicameral Conference Committee on House Bill
Thank you, Mr. President.
4814.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we transfer from the following bills from our committee, Committee on Rules, to the Committee on Health and Demography. Okay na to? These were read out already. Senate Bill number 1768, which is increasing the bed capacity of Governor Celestino Gallares Memorial Hospital. And Senate Bill number 2062, decreasing the bed capacity of Mariveles Mental Hospital. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, so transferred.
And finally, just a quick manifestation, Mr. President. On behalf of the leadership of the Senate, the Chamber, the entire Senate as well, we'd like to congratulate our Senate basketball team, known as the Senate Advocates, for entering for the second straight year their championship series of the Makabansa Basketball League, or MBL, Season 2. The team is led by co-captains, our very own senators, Mr. President, co-captain Senator Sonny Angara and Joel Villanueva, and the Senate President Pro Tem Ralph Recto as team manager, and Senator Manny Pacquiao and the other officers of the Senate as executive players. They'll be defending the title they won last year, 2017, on the season of the MBL. So far, they've registered 8 wins, no loss, with the Senate Advocates' entry to the championship, and the beneficiaries of the team are persons with disabilities, PWDs, from Tahanan Walang Hagdanan and Manila East Safety Rides Association of Rizal. They are already assured of a cash prize not lower than 200,000 pesos and will go higher if our team wins the championship. The request, Mr. President, is they request all the senators to watch the championship games between our team, Senate Advocates, against PLDT on December 4 and 9 at the Meralco Gym, Ortigas, Pasig City. That is the request.
Congratulations to the team. And also congratulations as well. There was a bicameral tournament last Friday between the Senate and the House of Representatives held in Esplendido, and the Senate won.
Very good. That's good to hear, Mr. President. Congratulations is in order.
Thank you.
With that, Mr. President, headed by the Senate President, please.
Yes, and the husband of Senator Nancy Bilim Binay.
Congratulations, Senate President.
Congratulations also to the advertisement of Senator Binay. Well crafted.
That's fantastic. Very good news indeed. Mr. President, with that, before we go on to our majority caucus, or all-member caucus, we'd like to recognize Senator Emmanuel Manny Pacquiao to deliver his privileged speech.
Senator Manny Pacquiao is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Mr. President. I would like to seize this opportunity to highlight a very important and alarming issue that our country is facing today. That is the dangers of cigarette smoking. Every year, there are about 20,000 smoking-related deaths in the Philippines, Mr. President. Out of the 7,000 chemicals that can be found in cigarettes, 69 are known to cause cancer. Mr. President, nakakalama ang mga datos ukol sa epekto ng paninigarilyo. Subalit, may magagawa pa po tayo. This is the reason why I filed the Senate Bill 1599, an act raising the excise tax on tobacco products and amending for the purpose pertinent sections of the National Internal Revenue Code as amended. The main objective for the proposal of this bill is to save lives, Mr. President. At this point, I would like to commend the efforts of Senator Sonny Angara, Chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means, for conducting the hearing today on the bills pertaining the tobacco tax increase. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa tulong ng ating mga kapwa-senador para sa mapag-usapan ang isyong ito. Nagpapasalamat din po ako sa suporta ng Department of Health and Department of Finance kasama ng iba't ibang advocacy group. Before Republic Act number 10351 or the Sin Tax Reform Act was passed in December 2012, the percentage of smokers in our population was always above 30% from 1998 to 2008. Because of Republic Act number 10351, the number of smokers decreased to 25% of the population in 2013 and further decreased to 20% in 2015. First, in the last 2 decades, according to the National Nutrition Survey, as a result, Mr. President, it was calculated that at least 70,000 deaths have been averted since year 2013. Notably, it was the youth and the poor who are benefited from this. The National Nutrition Survey results show that between 2008 and 2015, there was a 26 to 28% reduction in the smoking prevalence among the poorest populations and a 40% reduction in the smoking prevalence among the Filipino youth aged below 20 years old, Mr. President. This goes to show that increasing tobacco tax works. However, because of increasing incomes in population, it is expected that without any further increase in the tobacco tax, we can expect 1 million new smokers by year 2022. Most of them will come from the most vulnerable sectors, the youth who are the hope of the future, and the marginalized whose lives we want to uplift. Subalit, kung maipapasa natin ang ating panukalang Senate Bill 1599, itinatayang 1 milyong Pilipino ang mababawas sa bilang ng mga naninigarilyo. From 13 million in year 2018, the number will drop to 12 million by year 2022, Mr. President. In short, we need this bill to continue our gains in the past. Mr. President, smoking is also a gateway to drug use. Based on scientific journals, it is estimated that tobacco use could be responsible for introducing drugs to 1/3 of users. Of the 4.8 million ever users of illicit drugs in 2015, about 1.68 million may have started with smoking tobacco, Mr. President. Aside this, from the significant gains in health, this reform will also greatly supplement much needed revenues to finance social services. Before the sin tax law, tobacco excise tax collections reached to 24 to 32 billion from 2008 to 2012, Mr. President. In 2013, the first year after sin tax law passage, tobacco excise tax collection soared to 70.4 billion and continued to increase to 106.1 billion last year. With the train law for the first half of this year, incremental tobacco tax revenue was 5.5 billion compared to the 1.8 billion target of the Department of Finance. As a result, the funds to minimize the impact of the increased tobacco tax on tobacco growing LGUs more than doubled from a total of about 5 billion annually from 2010 to 2014 to up to 10 billion in 2015, Mr. President. As a directly related matter, the health budget received a significant boost. The increase in tobacco tax collection helped government triple its health budget from 44 billion in 2012 to 171 billion in 2018, Mr. President. Yet, the uptake of 106 billion in tobacco taxes still falls short of Philippine society's burden from tobacco-related diseases that totaled 210 billion in year 2017. This only considers the top 4 tobacco-related diseases: lung cancer, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD, coronary artery disease, and cardiovascular disease, among 38 other life-threatening diseases. Moreover, Mr. President, the passage of the Universal Healthcare Law, a landmark legislation championed by our colleagues in the Committee on Health, will require additional financing for its effective implementation. Ang syntax ang inaasahang pagkukuna ng bulto ng pundong kakailangan para sa universal healthcare. The Department of Finance estimates that Senate Bill 1599 will generate about 30 to 40 billion incremental revenues that we can use to fully realize the objectives of the Universal Healthcare Law. Considering all of this, a survey by Pulse Asia showed that 67% of the respondents agree that the tax on cigarettes should be increased. Mr. President, hindi po ito katulad ng ibang buhis. Suportado po ito ng sambayanang Pilipino. Tulungan natin ang mga mamayang umiwas sa panigarilyo. Tulungan din natin ang mga iba pa na naghahanap ng mabuting dahilan na tumigil na at huwag nang bumalik sa paninigarilyo. Hindi lang natin mabawasan ang ibilang ng mga smokers, mapabuti din natin ang kalusugan ng mga kababayan nating hindi naninigarilyo pero nakakalanghap ng second-hand smoke. Kasama ni Senador G.V. Ejercito na may kaparihas din ng panukalang batas. Tulungan natin ang ating mga kababayan. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Senator Ontiveros is recognized. Hello.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nais ko pong ipahayag yung aking pagsuporta sa mga pangunahing ideyang tinalakay ni Senator Manny. Lalong-lalo na po yung pag-engganyo ng health-seeking behavior sa ating mga kababayan, yung pag-generate ng higit na mga revenues para pondohan, lalo na yung pinapangarap nating universal healthcare system, yung patuloy na pagreforma ng ating taxation system, at yung patuloy na pagkalap din ng mga pondo na magagamit ng ating mga apektadong local government units para sa kanilang mga pangunahing programa kasama na ang kalusugan at pati yung agricultural diversification. Salamat, Mr. President, at salamat at mabuhay, Senator Manny.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, with that, we'd like to move to refer the speech of Senator Manny Pacquiao to the Committee on Ways and Means as a primary committee and Committee on Health and Demography as a secondary committee, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved. So referred.
Mr. President, with that, we move to suspend session for 10 legislative minutes to discuss the issues of the national budget, scheduling of the national budget.
May we first inquire from the majority leader before we suspend to save time. Can we find out from the Sergeant at Arms if the chairman of the Committee on Finance is already in the building?
Maybe ask General Balaga.
Because if not, we can proceed with one or two
Okay.
items in the agenda, or the order of business for the reference of business.
The minority floor leader has a
Yes.
suggestion, Mr. President.
That I order the arrest. But there is no vote, so
Oh, she's not here.
that's it. So the order of business,
Okay, maybe we move for the reference of business, Mr. President.
yes, thank you. The secretary will proceed with the reference of business.
Reference of business. Messages from the House of Representatives. Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14 November 2018, it reconsidered the ratification of the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 5745 entitled, An Act Establishing the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund and Providing for its Management and Utilization, and Senate Number 1233 entitled, An Act Creating the Coconut Farmers and Industry Trust Fund, Providing for its Management and Utilization, and for other purposes.
To the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14 November 2018, it designated Representatives Panganiban Jr., Garin, Tan, Escudero, Salos, Salon, and Lagman as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 5745 entitled, An Act Establishing the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund and Providing for its Management and Utilization, and Senate Number 1233 entitled, it's the same.
Refer to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14 November 2018, it designated Representatives Biron, Romualdo, Vergara, Zubiri, Tambunting, Primicias, Agabas, Escudero, Yap, Salo, and Arcillas as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions on House Number 8374 and Senate Number 1280, both entitled, An Act Providing for the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines.
Refer to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14 November 2018, it designated Representatives Sarmiento, Revilla, Gonzales, Pimentel, Sarmiento E. Castelo, and Cortuno as conference to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions on House Number 725 entitled, An Act Prohibiting the Collection of Fees from Passengers for the Use of Sanitary Facilities Located in the Land Transportation Terminals, Stations, Stop and Rest Areas, and Senate Number 1749 entitled, An Act to Improve Land Transportation Terminals, Stations, Stops, Rest Areas, and Roll-on Roll-off Terminals, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14 November 2018, it designated Representatives Tugna, Uybareta, Panganiban Jr., Roa Puno, and Suarez as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions on House Number 6604 entitled, An Act Regulating the Rates of Political Propaganda on television, radio, and print during an electoral campaign period, amending for the purpose Section 11 of Republic Act Number 9006, otherwise known as the Fair Election Act, and Senate Number 1985 entitled, An Act Amending Section 11 of Republic Act Number 9006, otherwise known as the Fair Election Act.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14 November 2018, it designated Representatives Yu, Herrera D. Cayetano, Acosta Alba, Castro, and Tino as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions on House Number 8239 entitled, An Act Promoting Positive and Nonviolent Discipline Protecting Children from Physical, Humiliating, or Degrading Acts as a Form of Punishment and Appropriating Funds therefore, and Senate Number 1477 entitled, An Act Promoting Positive and Nonviolent Discipline of Children, Prohibiting All Forms of Corporal Punishment, Humiliating and Degrading Treatment, Appropriating Funds therefore and for other purposes.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14 November 2018, it designated Representatives Sarmiento C. Velarde Jr., Pimentel, Biazon, Nieto, Robes, and Bravo as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 6938 entitled, An Act Providing for the Special Protection of Child Passengers in Motor Vehicles, and Senate Number 1971 entitled, An Act Providing for the Special Protection of Child Passengers in Motor Vehicles and Providing Appropriations thereof.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14 November 2018, it concurred with the Senate amendments to the following House bills. House Number 5576 entitled, An Act Establishing a Career Guidance and Counseling Program for all secondary schools and appropriating funds therefore. House Number 7166 entitled, An Act Converting the Cabasalan Institute of Technology in the Municipality of Cabasalan, Province of Zamboanga, Sibugay, into the Zamboanga Sibugay Polytechnic Institute and appropriating funds therefore, and House Number 7264 entitled, An Act Establishing the Cordillera State Polytechnic Skills Institute, integrating the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority training centers and TESTA-supervised state-run technical vocational institutions in the Cordillera Administrative Region and appropriating funds therefore.
To the Archives.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 20 November 2018, it passed the following House bills in which it requests the concurrence of the Senate. House Number 8552 entitled, An Act Further Strengthening the Philippine Coconut Authority, PCA, amending for the purpose Section 4 of Presidential Decree Number 1468, otherwise known as the Revised Coconut Industry Code as amended.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
House Number 8554 titled, An Act Enhancing Revenue Administration and Collection by Granting Amnesty and All Unpaid Internal Revenue Taxes imposed by the national government for the taxable year 2017 and prior years.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
House Number 8249 entitled, An Act Recognizing the British School Manila as an Educational Institution of International Character, granting the school certain prerogatives conducive to its development.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
House Number 8419, An Act Preventing the Use of Motorcycles in the Commission of Crimes through bigger number plates and identification marks.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Number 8281 entitled, An Act Providing for the Regulation and Organization of Islamic Banks.
To the Committee on Banks and Ways and Means.
House Number 8078 entitled, An Act Removing the Restrictions Imposed on the Registration, Acquisition, Encumbrance, Alienation, Transfer, and Conveyance of Land Covered by Free Patents under Sections 118, 119, and 121 of Commonwealth Act Number 141, otherwise known as the Public Land Act, as amended.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Number 8417 entitled, An Act Establishing the Energy Virtual One-Stop Shop for the purpose of streamlining the permitting process of energy projects.
To the Committee on Rules. Additional reference of business, please.
Additional reference of business, messages from the House of Representatives. Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 19 November 2018, it designated Representatives Panganiban Jr., Yap A. Garin, Unabia, Violago, Yap B. Lagman, Romero, and Salon as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 7735 entitled an act replacing the quantitative import restrictions on rice with tariffs and creating the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, and Senate Number 1998 entitled an act replacing the quantitative import restrictions on rice with tariffs, lifting the quantitative export restrictions on rice, and creating the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 8178 as amended by Republic Act Number 9496 and as further amended by Republic Act Number 10848 and for other purposes.
To the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 19 November 2018, it ratified the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 4114 entitled an act increasing the maternity leave period to 100 days for female workers in the government service and in the private sector, and granting an option to extend for an additional 30 days without pay, and Senate Number 1305 entitled an act increasing the maternity leave period to 120 days for female workers in the government service and the private sector, with an option to extend for an additional 30 days without pay, providing a parental leave period for the adoptive parents, and granting an additional 30 days for solo mothers and for other purposes.
To the Archives.
Letter to the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 20 November 2018, it designated Representatives Javier, Ting, Tugna, Villaferte Jr., Hoffer, and Cortuna as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 8139 entitled an act instituting a Philippine labor force competency competitiveness program and free access to technical vocational education and training, and Senate Number 1431 entitled an act instituting a Philippine labor force competencies competitiveness program, establishing free access to technical and vocational training programs and for other purposes.
To the Committee on Rules.
Letters from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 20 November 2018, it designated Representatives Tan, Garcia III, Revilla, Pichay Jr., and Arcillas as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing votes on House Number 6618 entitled an act establishing a 100-bed capacity hospital in Barangay Habay 2 in the city of Bacoor, province of Cavite, to be known as the Bacoor District Hospital, and appropriating funds therefore, and House Number 6621 entitled an act increasing the bed capacity of the Adela Serra T. Memorial Medical Center in Tandag City, province of Surigao del Sur, from 200 to 500 beds, upgrading its services and facilities, authorizing the increase of its medical personnel, and appropriating funds therefore.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 20 November 2018, it ratified the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 7652 and Senate Number 1636, both entitled an act requiring public telecommunications entities to provide nationwide mobile number portability to subscribers.
To the Archives.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 20 November 2018, it passed House Number 8169 entitled an act appropriating funds for the operation of the government of the Republic of the Philippines from January 1 to December 31, 2019, and for other purposes, in which it requests the concurrence of the Senate.
Referred to the Committee on Finance.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 21 November 2018, it designated Representatives Pichay Jr., Garin, Panganiban Jr., Ortega, Salon, and Lagman as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 8552 entitled an act further strengthening the Philippine Coconut Authority PCA, amending for the purpose Section 4 of Presidential Decree Number 1468, otherwise known as Revised Coconut Industry Code as amended, and Senate Number 1976 entitled an act to further strengthen the Philippine Coconut Authority PCA, amending Presidential Decree Number 1468, otherwise known as the Revised Coconut Industry Code of 1978 as amended.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 21 November 2018, it designated Representatives Swansing, Bolilla, Deloso Montalia, Romero, Suarez, and Defensor Jr. as conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 4814 entitled an act granting amnesty in the payment of estate tax, House Number 8554 entitled, An Act Enhancing Revenue Administration and Collection by Granting Amnesty on All Unpaid Internal Revenue Taxes imposed by the national government for taxable year 2017 and prior years, and Senate Number 2059 entitled, An Act Enhancing Revenue Administration and Collection and Broadening the Tax Base by Granting an Amnesty on All Unpaid Internal Revenue Taxes imposed by the national government for taxable year 2017 and prior years with respect to estate tax, other internal revenue taxes, and tax on delinquencies, and addressing cross-border tax evasion and for other purposes.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 21 November 2018, it passed the following House bills in which it requests the concurrence of the Senate. House Number 8528 entitled, An Act Regulating the Practice of Occupational Therapy in the Philippines and Providing Funds Therefor.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Number 8382 entitled, An Act Granting Philippine Citizenship to Kitson Soriano Co.
Referred to the Committee on Justice and Human Rights.
House Bill Number 8529 entitled, An Act Regulating the Practice of Speech-Language Pathology in the Philippines and Providing Funds Therefor.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
House Number 8101 entitled, An Act Granting Survivorship Benefits to the Dependent Children of a Deceased Retired Member of the Judiciary who is a solo parent, or to the surviving parents or nominated persons of such deceased retiree, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 910 as amended and appropriating funds therefor.
Referred to the Committees on Justice and Finance.
And House Number 8121 entitled, An Act Providing Support for the Surviving Spouse and Children of Slain Justices and Judges, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 910 as amended, entitled, An Act to Provide for the Retirement of Justices of the Supreme Court and of the Court of Appeals for the enforcement of the provisions hereof by the Government Service Insurance System, and to repeal Commonwealth Act Number 536 and appropriating funds therefor.
Referred to the Committee on Justice and Finance.
Letters from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 20 and 21 November 2018, it concurred with the Senate amendments to the following House bills. House Number 639 entitled, An Act Providing for the Establishment of a District Hospital in the Municipality of Santa Elena, Province of Camarines Norte, and appropriating funds therefor. House Number 1955 entitled, An Act Increasing the Bed Capacity of Rizal Medical Center in Pasig City from 300 to 500 beds and appropriating funds therefor. And House Number 5577 entitled, An Act Mandating the Conservation of Gabaldon School Buildings nationwide, providing penalties for violations and appropriating funds therefor.
To the Archives. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, we have the guests in the gallery from the office of Senator Rich Gordon. We have Honorable Edwin Masbang, Mayor of Masbang, Biliran, and Honorable Ulderico Macorol, Mayor of Maripipi, Biliran, together with Ms. Marisol Masbang, Mr. Ferdinand Murillo, and Mr. Romulo Bernardes.
Thank you very much. Welcome to our guests. I'd like to welcome them to the Senate.
So, Mr. President,
Yes, I was informed that the chairman of the Committee on Finance has already arrived, so we will entertain a motion to suspend
Yes, we move to suspend
for a caucus, an all-senator caucus in the
all
Senator's
senator
Lounge.
caucus. That's correct.
Any objection, there being none, the session is suspended for a caucus.
Yeah, bro, thank you. No, we have a lot of work.
Thanks. Session is resumed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, with the permission of the body, I move to transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special orders, Senate Bill number 2017. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Chair hears none. So transferred.
I move that we consider Senate Bill number 2017. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of 2017 is in order.
Mr. President, may we ask the Secretary to read the title of the measure?
The Secretary will read the title of the measure.
Senate Bill number 2017, an act providing a socialized microfinancing program for microenterprises, thereby promoting entrepreneurship.
Mr. President, to sponsor the measure, we recognize the chairperson of the Committee on Trade and Entrepreneurship, no other than Honorable Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III.
Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III is recognized to sponsor the measure.
Mr. President, my esteemed colleagues, Magandang hapon po. I am privileged to stand before you today to seek your full support for the passage of Senate Bill number 2017, an act providing a socialized microfinancing program for micro-enterprises, thereby promoting entrepreneurship. This is the Pondo sa Pagbabago at Pag-asenso, or the P3 Act. Truly, courage, vision, and determination are building blocks of entrepreneurship. However, when opportunities made possible through an institutionalized microfinancing program that provides the needed financial backing to budding entrepreneurs are scarce and lacking, any entrepreneur's odyssey from scratch to success will be extremely difficult. To make ends meet, Filipino micro-entrepreneurs are oftentimes left with no choice but to resort to the usurious 5-6 lending scheme just to survive. Ika nga nila, kapit sa patalim para lamang makaraos. The nefarious 5-6 scheme, denounced by no less than President Rodrigo Duterte himself, has ensnared and trapped our micro-entrepreneurs in an endless cycle of high interest rates and then more debilitating debts. Imbis na makaahon sa kahirapan ay lalo pong nababaon sa utang ang ating mga magigiting na mga ngalakal. Rather than fuel the desire of our would-be entrepreneurs to pursue higher business undertakings, the prevalence of the 5-6 system and our countrymen's seemingly helpless attachment to it are burdens that weigh them down. In some cases, the 5-6 system has buried entrepreneurs so deep in debt that in the end, they just give up. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the entrepreneurial spirit of the Filipino cannot be denied. It is the bedrock upon which our economy is built. The mushrooming of micro and small and medium enterprises all over the country is an incontrovertible proof that the spirit of entrepreneurship, notwithstanding the challenges and the hurdles, is very much alive among our people. Sari-sari stores, food carts are everywhere. In the 2016 list of establishments of the Philippine Statistics Authority, micro, small, and medium enterprises accounted for 99.57% of all business establishments. And of this, 89.63% were micro enterprises. This is the group of entrepreneurs who are crying for our help in the form of cheap credit financing. Filipino entrepreneurship, together with all the good that it generates, from employment to revenues collected by the government, should be supported. It should be nurtured. It should be developed. Providing them with affordable credit financing is a way to do this. The Pondo sa Pagbabago at Pag-asenso program, or P3 program, seeks to provide qualified Filipino micro-entrepreneurs with a more viable source of financing. The program shall be spearheaded by the Small Business Corporation, the financing arm of the Department of Trade and Industry, and shall be primarily accessible through accredited partner financial institutions such as rural banks, cooperatives with license to lend, microfinancing institutions, or lending companies duly licensed by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Cooperative Development Authority, or the Securities and Exchange Commission. The demand and need for the P3 program is definitely justified. As of August 31, 2018, the SB Corporation has approved 2.2 billion pesos in credit lines, of which 1.5 billion pesos have been released through P3 partner financial institutions. A reasonable rate of not more than 2.5% per month on loans availed of under the program without collateral surely provides a better alternative to the 5-6 system. Our proposed bill further seeks to create an environment that fosters the creativity and motivation of our micro-entrepreneurs. The loanable amount for individual loans are set and regularly reviewed by the Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Development Council to make sure that loans for business expansion are always available to credit-worthy micro-entrepreneurs. Mr. President, my fellow senators, the Filipino entrepreneurs deserve all the help that they can get. The time is right to institutionalize the P3 program. So in view of the foregoing, I humbly seek your support for the immediate passage of this bill. More success to our Filipino micro-entrepreneurs. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, to allow our colleagues to study this measure further, we move to suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 2017.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Consideration of the measure is suspended.
Mr. President, before we move to the next matter on the agenda, we'd just like to recognize with us today here, former Dean of the PUP Institute of Cooperatives, Professor Ellen Mantalaba is with us, together with officers and staff of the Cooperative Development Authority, headed by administrators Mirla Paradillo and Abad Santos. With us.
Welcome to the Senate.
Thank you. Mr. President, I move to resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1823. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Consideration is in order.
This is an act strengthening the office of the Solicitor General. I move that we recognize the distinguished sponsor, Senator Richard Gordon, and to continue this interpellation, our distinguished Minority Floor Leader, Senator Franklin M. Drilon.
Senator Richard Gordon is recognized, and Senator Frank Drilon, Minority Leader, is recognized.
Yes, Mr. President, will the gentleman continue to yield?
Yes, Your Honor. I,
Lord.
to my good friend and colleague, the Minority Floor Leader.
Yes. Mr. President, I wish to manifest that at 6 p.m. we will have the bicameral conference committee on the disagreed provision of the corporation code. So may we start our interpretation now and the provision of
Yes,
the
Your Honor,
council.
because I also have a meeting with the Israeli ambassador at 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. President, the last time that we left off on this, when the bill was being debated, there was an agreement between this representation and the sponsor that indeed we should only have one lawyer for the entire government as the Attorney General in the United States would appear to have that power. The problem in our situation is that the administrative code and the other issuances would make it appear that there are two principal councils of government, and there is no one who would have a final controlling opinion. Let me point out that under Title 3, Chapter 1, Section 1, Section 2, and Section 3 of the revised of PD of EO 292, which is the administrative code, it would appear that and it is clear that the Secretary of Justice shall be the agency which is mandated to carry out the policy of being the principal law agency of the government. And in fact, under its powers and functions, the Secretary of Justice acts as the principal law agency of the government and the legal counsel and representative thereof, whenever so required. And it is mandated, and the Department of Justice is mandated to provide legal services to the national government and its functionaries, including government-owned and controlled corporations and their subsidiaries. That is found in Title 3, Chapter 1, Sections 1, 2, 3, of EO 292. However, under the same administrative order, executive order, under Chapter 12, the Office of the Solicitor General, under Section 34, the Office of the Solicitor General shall be headed by the Solicitor General, who is the principal law officer and legal defender of the government. That's on Section 34. And on Section 35, the Solicitor General shall constitute the law office of the government and discharge the duties requiring the services of lawyers. This is, no matter how you read it, Mr. President, this indicates that there are two principal lawyers of this government, the Department of Justice Secretary and the Solicitor General. At the appropriate time, given the responses of the good sponsor in the interpellation that we conducted in the last session, would the good gentleman be willing to accept the amendment, which would in effect clearly state that the principal, that the principal law office, the principal lawyer of the government is the Secretary of Justice?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe the Secretary of Justice supervises the Office of the Solicitor General, which is an attached agency, although some decrees have also referred to it as the principal law office. In the interest of making sure that everybody is on the same page in the government, the Secretary of Justice shall be the principal lawyer of the government, not the Office of the Secretary General.
Thank you, Mr. President, except that I just want to point out to the good sponsor that under Section 34, Title 3 of the Administrative Code, the Office of the Solicitor General shall be an independent and autonomous office attached to the Department of Justice.
I read that, Your Honor, but I would imagine it is an independent office attached to the fact that it says attached to the Secretary of Judgment really sees to it that Secretary of Justice has a superiority and, as a matter of fact, I think supervision over the office of the Secretary General.
Well, we can make that intention clear when we propose the
Definitely, Your Honor.
thank you very much, sir. Now, on page, what page is this one? 4 of the bill. Powers under page 4, line 17 to 25. The powers of the Solicitor General is stated as follows: conciliate, mediate, administratively settle, or adjudicate all disputes, claims, and controversies involving mixed questions of fact and law, or questions of fact only, solely between or among the departments, bureaus, offices, agencies, and instrumentalities of the national government, including constitutional offices and agencies. Please note, Mr. President, that the inclusion of constitutional offices and agencies as part of the offices where the disputes can be conciliated and mediated and settled and adjudicated by the Solicitor General, including the constitutional offices, is an amendment to Chapter 14, Section 66, EO 292 of the Administrative Code. Because the present law specifically excludes constitutional bodies from the authority. Now, in the view of so to demonstrate this, in case of a conflict between, say, the COA and the Supreme Court, both constitutional bodies, will the Solicitor General be the one to adjudicate?
No, Your Honor, I believe that because this is a dispute between constitutional agencies, it should be the Supreme Court who should be the one.
Yeah, but the line 24,
Yes, Your Honor. We've been made aware of that, and it's an oversight on our part, and this should really be removed, and we're willing to accept any amendment that may be preferred, or we can propose it in the period of amendments, Your Honor.
thank you very much, because indeed, under the existing administrative code, it's very specific that the chapter on controversies among government offices, the resolution of these disputes, the mechanism provided in that portion of the bill, of the law, does not apply to disputes involving the Congress, the Supreme Court, constitutional commissions, and law and local governments. So this this proposed amendment, if approved, will in fact put within the scope of the OSG disputes between the Supreme Court and, say, Congress. So we must, I'm glad that the good sponsor has seen this. Now, is the decision of the Solicitor General in case of a dispute between two departments appealable to the Supreme Court?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe it is, it should be appealable to the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
Is under the existing law, under the revised administrative code, particularly Chapter 14, Section 70. Let me read it for the record. The decision of the Secretary of Justice, as well as that of the Solicitor General, when approved by the Secretary of Justice, shall be final and binding upon the parties involved. Appeals, however, may however be taken to the President where the amount of the claim or value of the property exceeds 1 million pesos. The decision of the President shall be final. What is the relation of this present provision to the proposed power granted under line 17 to 25 on page 5? Page 4, I'm sorry.
Yes, Your Honor, this was done through a PD during the time of martial law.
Sorry, sir?
This is done through a PD.
Yes.
And I think it's about time that we make the adjustment that even the appeals made to the Office of the President can be raised on certiorari under the expanded certiorari jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
Yes, we agree with that, but would the decision of the Solicitor General, which is not approved by the Secretary of Justice, be subject of a petition for certiorari, or must it be first approved by the Secretary of Justice if we maintain the present Section 70?
Your Honor, under the present rules, as you read correctly, it can be appealed to the Secretary of Justice, which and can be appealed to the Office of the President. But ultimately, Your Honor, if there is really a writ of error, if you will, it can be brought to the Supreme Court. That is just my personal opinion, Your Honor.
Well, all right. Maybe the good sponsor will agree with me that there is need to clarify the procedure, and maybe at the appropriate time, the good sponsor can suggest how we can restructure the appeal process. As he correctly said, this is a PD which can stand improvement at this point.
Actually, Your Honor, it's under Uniform Rules on Dispute Resolution under Presidential Decree, once again, number 242 as amended for government agencies and instrumentalities and government-owned or controlled corporations, Your Honor.
Yeah.
But like all things, you know, Your Honor, I think we must fine-tune all these rules that occurred in another time, another moment in history, and make the adjustment. And unfortunately, Your Honor, the attention of the committee was on the matter, really, as it was shown to us, on the matter of equalizing the salaries of the judiciary, as well as the ombudsman, as well as the Office of the Solicitor General. And I thank the gentleman from Iloilo for calling the attention of the committee on these matters, which I think are quite appropriate, Your Honor. And we will make the correct amendments to the, which is proper.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, why do we have to make distinctions between pure questions of pure questions of fact and questions involving mixed questions of fact and law? Why? I know it's in the present administrative code, but why do we maintain this distinction? What is the policy consideration here? This is found on line 19 and 20 and 21 on page 4.
Yes, Your Honor. Section 2 and Section 3 delineates which are the questions of law which will be under the jurisdiction of the Secretary of Justice, and questions of law and of fact, or only factual issues with the Solicitor General. I suppose, Your Honor, the reason why there is this delineation is to unburden the Secretary of Justice and to give the so-called focus on cases involving law and fact, which requires additional and close order research on matters that are before the Solicitor General's office, Your Honor. And I suppose this would unburden and make it faster, Your Honor.
I will submit to the wise judgment of the good sponsor. You know, we lawyers are so brilliant in crafting argument that will make it fall only as a question of fact or a question of fact and law, depending on which side of the bed a lawyer wakes up in the morning and on the amount of fees he intends to collect. He can justify anything. So I would suggest that as policy makers, Mr. President, we take a good look at this policy issue and decide once and for all what should it be. Because personally, and the good sponsor does not have to agree with me, I could not see the point in making all such distinctions.
Well,
that's my submission, Mr. President.
Your Honor, we will consider the suggestion, but right now, Your Honor, the gentleman asked me the question about why the distinction. Maybe at that time that was the prevailing thinking. Again, like I said, we probably will have to fine-tune this, and we will try to share a way clear on making sure whether that would be indeed necessary, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Let us leave it at that and come back to it at the appropriate time on the period of amendments. Still on page 4, lines 13 to page 5, lines 1 to 3. Let me read it, Mr. President. The powers of the OSG includes render opinion and advice on matters referred by the departments, bureaus, offices, agencies, and instrumentalities of the national government being represented by the OSG. From the way the present structure, if we don't amend this, Mr. President, really this is a classic example of both the Secretary of Justice and the Solicitor General rendering opinions for the entire bureaucracy. And it is entirely possible that the different agencies would forum shop, meaning either go to the OSG or to the DOJ, depending on who can render a more favorable opinion. Would the sponsor at least entertain that thought if we allow the bill as presently worded remain?
Your Honor, I will certainly enthusiastically take a look at this and maybe put it under one department. Either, I would imagine this would be more in the purview of the Secretary of Justice, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, sir. On page 5, The OSG is authorized to engage the services of counsel in all cases, and which is being handled by the office. Is the intention here to allow the OSG to hire private lawyers even in domestic cases?
No, Your Honor. Definitely, this would involve cases where there is a matter to be handled by international arbitration committees or courts of law, Your Honor. And this, I think, occurred principally because of the fact that in one case, the Piatco, if I'm mistaken, the airport matter, they did not conduct a public bidding, and this was questioned, Your Honor.
Yes.
My own view on the matter, Your Honor, if I may, is that lawyers to be taken must be subjected to some form of scrutiny to a certain extent, but not necessarily public bidding, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
So this is something that I think we have to address also.
Yes, I agree with that. My point, Mr. President, is this authority should be limited to foreign arbitrations and litigations,
That's correct, Your Honor.
not to local cases.
Definitely not, Your Honor.
Because the way it is worded, it says, the subject to the approval of the President engage the service of counsel to assist in the discharge of his duties and responsibilities in cases requiring highly specialized legal skills, knowledge, or enterprises, including but not limited to foreign arbitrations and litigations.
Yes,
So
Your Honor.
if the intention is to limit this only to foreign arbitrations, we have no problem with that. Mr.
Yes, Your
President.
Honor.
If that is the intention, we can amend it accordingly at the appropriate time so that that intention is carried in the letter of the law.
In fact, Your Honor, I would even add, you may, and again, thank you for widening the scope and making sure that clarifying the scope is the better phrase. I would even go as far as making sure that the Solicitor General starts exposing our lawyers to such practice, Your Honor. Why does it have to be limited to foreign lawyers? I think we should really develop the expertise as Filipinos to have international lawyers. The gentleman came from Accra and SGV, and I remember you had lawyers like Totoy Feliciano, who was qualified as an international lawyer. And there are others, Your Honor, as you know, as the gentleman knows, and I think that without even suggesting it, I think if I were Solicitor General, I would make sure that we develop that kind of expertise available to us, or at least tap into Filipino lawyers with international caliber, Your Honor.
Well, just a slight, thank you very much, Mr. President. Just a slight correction. I came from CSIP Salazar, not SGV.
What did I say?
SGV.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No, it's
like
okay. No.
the lady from Iloilo was looking at me also because I told her earlier that I am really tired and almost sleepy kanina. So it's my fault, Your Honor.
No problem, sir. Okay, Mr. President, let's go now to the salaries. As we said, we leave this matter to the decision of the committee and recommendation of the committee. I just wish to ask questions in order that we can be clarified on the provisions. The first question, that it appears that under Republic Act 9417 already places the benefits received by the officials of the Office of the Solicitor General at par with the members of the judiciary. Can the good sponsor spread into the record the difference in salary and benefit structure provided in Republic Act 9417 as against the proposed structure provided in the measure? Because it would appear to me that the salary grades are the same. Under the salary grade 31, the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, and now the OSG. The OSG now is salary grade 31, which is also the salary grade of the presiding justice of the Court of Appeals, of the Prosecutor General, and the Ombudsman. Now the proposed measure, for example, says that they shall have the rank of a cabinet secretary and an associate of the Supreme Court. But the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court is also salary grade 31. So may we know exactly what is the difference between Section 3 of the proposed bill and Republic Act 9417, which is the existing law.
The adjustment, Your Honor, is based on the fact that everything is the same except for retirement privileges, which are not afforded the members of the Solicitor General's office, which on the other hand is afforded government prosecutors, Your Honor. And PAL, even PAL, Your Honor.
So only retirement.
Only retirement, Your Honor.
Why don't we just so specify that they shall be entitled to the
We will
same?
do that, Your Honor.
Yeah, so that it is clear that, you know, we are not, because when the way it is worded, as if there's a difference, when in fact it's only retirement. And what else, Mr. President? Retirement and
Just retirement, Your
just
Honor.
retirement.
Yes.
We have no problems with that, to put them at par with the Prosecutor General and the Ombudsman.
It says retirement and all other benefits. That should be similar, Your Honor.
Precisely, because we can, what is all other benefits? If the intention is to put them at par
Yes, Your Honor.
with the Solgen, the Prosecutor General and the Ombudsman must be all salary grade 31 and subject to the same benefit. The retirement benefits is the principal. I have no objection to that.
Yes, Your Honor. We shall make it clear that insofar as parity is concerned, the objective is parity.
Right,
No one should have something more than the other, Your Honor.
right.
And actually, even on the ranks, Your Honor, SG 31 for the presiding justice of the Court of Appeals, gano'n rin doon sa kwan, SG 31, but with the rank being presiding justice of the Court of Appeals, Your Honor, not Supreme Court Associate Justice.
So will this be amended? Because then,
With
that will
Associate
put-
Justice of the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
Huh?
Same rank as associate. This is for the OSG, Your Honor.
So the Solicitor General, if we
For the
approve,
Solgen, for the Solgen,
the
Your Honor.
Solgen will be on a higher rank than the Ombudsman?
No, Your Honor, they will be the same.
Yeah, but right now they are the same.
Yes, Your Honor, that's my understanding.
So we will maintain that.
We will maintain that, Your Honor, because the position of the sponsor is not to allow the Solicitor General to be higher than the OSG, which is even a constitutional position, Your Honor.
Yeah. So will the, so,
Which one?
because presently, subject to verification, the Ombudsman has the same rank as the presiding justice of the Court of Appeals. Is that correct?
SG 31, Your Honor.
Huh?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Now, so, there is no intention to put the Solicitor General higher than the Ombudsman.
Basta presiding justice, Your Honor.
Huh?
Presiding justice of the Court of Appeals.
Presiding justice. That is the present position.
Yes,
and we
Your
will
Honor.
maintain
We
that.
will maintain that, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, sir. So it is the retirement which is not being granted to the Solgen.
Sometimes, Your Honor, we Filipinos are so enamored with title that we forget that substance is better than title. by your stickering, I would imagine that you agree.
So that will be amended in accordance with the position of the good sponsor. Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
What about, okay, under the present law, the assistant, the ASG, Assistant Solicitor General, the National Prosecution Service Prosecutor 5, and the equivalent positions of the Ombudsman are all salary grade 30, which is the Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Now, what is the intention of the good sponsor in lines 13 to 21 on page 6. We note that there is no, that retirement is not specified here. For the Assistant Solicitor General, it says salaries, allowances, emoluments, privileges. We note that there is no specification of retirement as in the case of the senior state solicitor.
I'm told, Your Honor, that under Republic Act 9417, it's already stated there that they will have the same retirement benefits, Your Honor,
So we,
as Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals.
the Assistant Solicitor General has the same retirement structures, retirement pay as the
Associate Justice of the Court of
Associate
Appeals.
Justice. Now, the benefit, the standards here of the Assistant Solicitor General does not include retirement, the word retirement.
It includes that, Your Honor.
No, wala po. You look at line 18, unless this is a misprint. You read, sir, lines 13 up to line 18, there is no retirement.
According to the honesty here,
What?
the term benefits includes all the retirement benefits, Your Honor, but we can clarify that even more.
Well, my copy, sir, does not say retirement, unless this is not the official copy of the bill.
Saan ba yung kopya?
Wala eh. If
We will
you,
clarify that, Your Honor, once and for all.
if you look at your committee report, sir, it does not include retirement. Baka po mawala yung retirement.
Kasi sinabi nila yung benefits kasama yung retirement, but we will correct that. We will correct that to include retirement, Your Honor.
Because, sir, in the next, for the senior state solicitor, retirement is specified. But that's why I was wondering what is the intention of,
Your Honor, that's correct, Your Honor. We are going to make sure that the clarification is made.
is there an intention to change the existing salary structure under Republic Act 9417 except for retirement?
No, Your Honor, there's no intention. It just makes parity
That's right.
a reality for all.
The real intention is to put them at par insofar as retirement is concerned, because all the other benefits, they are at par.
Yes, Your Honor. Retirement. And other including survivorship, Your Honor. Remember, we did the
No, we're not
ombudsman,
yet learning
and they had
survivorship.
survivorship, Your Honor.
The survivorship is found in a different provision.
Yes, Your Honor. You recall, Your Honor, we had, Mr. President, an adjustment on the ombudsman. And the gentleman and this representation believes that we don't want to have a spiraling contest all the time. Every time somebody gets something, the other group in another agency involved with justice or prosecution will say we want the same. So this is an attempt to try and make it the same for all sectors involving the judiciary, the prosecution office, the Solicitor General, and the Ombudsman, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. President, in relation to the retirement benefits, we note that in page 10, section 24, I'm sorry, line 24, it extensively talks about retirement and what the retirement benefits are. What is the difference between, is there any distinction between the retirement benefits provided here and the retirement benefits provided to the judges?
There should not, Your Honor. If there is an indication whatsoever that they will have better retirement benefits than the other agency, we will correct accordingly, Your Honor. in a succeeding amendment?
Because I'm asking that question, sir, because if you notice on lines 16 to 21 on page 10 on the same page, the benefits, the Solicitor General may provide for other benefits as enjoyed by other government officers, or as may be determined by the Solicitor General in the exigencies of the service. In other words, there is discretion given to the Solgen to grant other benefits in the exigencies of the service. Is
The
that
gentleman is correct, Your Honor, and I
sorry?
agree with him.
I'm sorry?
The gentleman is correct, and again, I reiterate that the objective of this bill is to make sure that everybody has the same salary, same retirement, and the same benefits, Your Honor. And that's why I think we should just clearly point that out here, Your Honor,
Yes, well, I
including in the
concur.
policy.
I concur with that, Mr. President, and maybe the various sections can be amended consistent with that policy position of
Yes,
the
Your
big
Honor.
sponsor.
We will do so.
At this stage, Mr. President, as we have manifested as a SAC, it's already 5:59 with the indulgence of the good sponsor. Can I suspend my interpellation to attend to bicameral conference committee on the corporation code?
With the indulgence of my good friend and colleague, will there be other questions? Because I'd like to make sure that
Yes,
we can...
just a few more.
So,
Just one more
tomorrow,
section. We can finish this in one more.
Tomorrow, Your Honor, because I really am concerned about our budget, and we want to finish this before. I'm sure you are too, because you came from the Department of Justice. So, Your Honor, we will continue. Besides, we should be ready with the amendments. The moment the gentleman is finished tomorrow, we should be able to cite the amendments that we're going to propose as committee amendments, Your Honor. And I thank the good Minority Floor Leader for his interpretation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I move to suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 1823. I so move.
Any objection? Chair is none. Consideration of the measure is suspended.
Mr. President, with the permission of the body, I move to consider proposed Senate Resolution 952. May I withdraw my motion, Mr. President? I move that we have a second additional reference of business.
Any objection? There being none, the Secretary will proceed with the second additional reference of business.
Second additional reference of business, resolutions. Senate Joint Resolution Number 17 entitled, Joint Resolution Extending the Availability of the 2018 Appropriations for Maintenance and Other Operating Expenses and Capital Outlays to December 31, 2019, amending for the purpose Section 61 of the General Provisions of Republic Act Number 10964, the General Appropriations Act of Fiscal Year 2018, introduced by Senator Legarda.
Referred to the Committee on Finance.
Resolutions. Proposed PS Resolution Number 947 entitled, Resolution Directing the Senate Committee on Environment and Natural Resources to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the entry and dumping of garbage and waste from different countries into the Philippines and our territories with the end in view of determining whether present legal safeguards are sufficient against the indiscriminate entry of solid waste and other forms of harmful trash into the country, introduced by Senator Grace Poe.
Referred to the Committees on Environment and Foreign Relations.
PS Resolution Number 948 entitled, Resolution Directing the Senate Committee on Public Services to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the proposed increase in the motor vehicle users charge and recommending that such increase be held in abeyance so as not to add to the burden already being experienced by motorists due to high international oil prices, as well as the excise taxes, gasoline, and on automobiles under Republic Act Number 10963, otherwise known as the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion Train Law, introduced by Senator Grace Poe.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
PS Resolution Number 949 entitled, Resolution Directing the Appropriate Committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into President Rodrigo Duterte's order to the military to temporarily take over the Bureau of Customs, introduced by Senator Laila M. De Lima.
Referred to the Committees on Finance and National Defense.
PS Resolution Number 950 entitled Resolution Directing the Appropriate Senate Committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the status of the implementation of Presidential Decree Number 856, otherwise known as Code on Sanitation of the Philippines in public schools for the purpose of determining the challenges and issues in its enforcement with the end in view of proposing legislations that would further strengthen existing laws on sanitation and protect Filipino youth, introduced by Senator Laila M. De Lima.
Referred to the Committee on Health and Demography.
PS Resolution Number 951 entitled A Resolution Commending and Congratulating Edward Fulayang for winning the one lightweight world champion title, introduced by Senator Emmanuel Manny D. Pacquiao.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution Number 952 entitled Resolution Honoring the Achievements and Contributions of the late Metrobank founder Dr. George S.K.T., a pillar in the business community and a humanitarian nonpareil, introduced by Senator Richard J. Gordon.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Committee report. Committee report number 516 submitted jointly by the Committees on Local Government and Electoral Reforms and People's Participation on House number 7363, introduced by Senate Representative Zamora and Gonzaga, entitled An Act renaming the province of Compostela Valley as the province of Davao de Oro, recommending its approval with amendments, taking into consideration Senate number 1746, sponsor Senator Sani Angara.
To the calendar for ordinary business. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, with the permission of the body, permission of the body, Mr. President, I move to consider proposed Senate Resolution Number 952. I so move.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of Resolution 952 is in order.
May we ask the Secretary to read the title of the measure?
Secretary will read the title of the measure.
PS Resolution Number 952, entitled Resolution Honoring the Achievements and Contributions of the late Metrobank founder, Dr. George S.K.T., as a pillar in the business community and a humanitarian nonpareil.
Mr. President, may I recognize the sponsor, Senator Gordon, to sponsor the said measure.
Senator Richard Gordon is recognized.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Mr. Chairman, I rise with a deep sense of sorrow at the demise of a friend, I'm sure a friend not only of mine, but also of many of the other senators here present and many of the businessmen and high leaders of this country. That is why we authored this resolution. I also wanted to make sure that we have, tomorrow I will be giving a eulogy, the funeral ceremonies before all the employees of Metro Bank. I wanted to make sure that the Senate, I'm sure the Senate President would agree, that we should be able to submit a parchment of sorts indicating our condolences and our admiration for the wonderful record that George C. Did for the country, Your Honor. Now, Mr. President, on several occasions in the past, the Senate has recognized great deeds by outstanding Filipinos for their valuable service to the Filipino people and laudable contributions to the nation. One such person today that I would like to call the attention of the Senate to, which I'm sure you've already seen, is that Dr. George C. Was a young man of Chinese ancestry who, in the 1950s, inherited a business from his father called Wellington Flour. Now, Your Honor, he decided when he was borrowing money, as many of our people do, marami nangungutang, ang hirap mangutang sa mga bangko. So what he did was set up his own bank. This is way back in 1962, Your Honor, when I was still graduating from high school in the Ateneo. And since that time, Your Honor, George D., to dint of hard work, has created the country's, once upon a time, first largest bank, and now the second largest bank with 945 branches around the Philippines, employing about 11,000 employees. And he did so without benefit of a mall. The largest bank has a mall, and because every time they put up a mall, they're able to put up a bank. In this particular case, he has put up branches all over the country, 945 branches, allowing credit to proliferate in our country. Since that time, Your Honor, since the late 1990s, the bank has already expanded not only here but in London, Taichung, Tokyo, and Seoul, and it became the first Philippine bank, the only one operating in China, Your Honor. And this is by virtue of the agreement made by President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo with Jiang Zemin at that time. And at that time, no bank was allowed to operate, but they were now provided with Metro Bank operations in China with 3 branches located in Nanjing, Shanghai. At the date of the Metro Bank Group has 32 foreign branches, subsidiaries, and representatives' offices globally. Later on, he would set up business opportunities in China for the Filipinos. He set up the first China, the only one of its kind, first China-Philippines undertaking on the matter of creating what you might call some form of an event for business, Your Honor, in Shanghai. And no less than the Speaker of the Venetia went in there. And by the way, in the course of putting up all these institutions in China, Mr. D has been able to provide not only a building for the embassy, but also cars for the embassy, donating 4 cars for use of the embassy. Now, you know, it's always been my position that we should provide our embassies with the proper tools to at least show that there is dignity for our country. In this particular case, he provided even a Rolls Royce for the embassy or the Consul General's office in Shanghai. Now, that sounds very materialistic, but nonetheless, I think it was the only embassy that had a Rolls Royce in the whole world. Having said that, Mr. President, he was able to fast-track the opening of the Shanghai Philippine Consulate General. By virtue of his exposure there, he was able to help, and as I said, put up the building there initially. And let me just put out, he also engineered through Ambassador Yabes at that time, the first ever solo Philippine trade exhibition in China in 2003. Now, Mr. President, during the Marcos era, Japan was a participant in the Philippine Car Progressive Manufacturing Program. Unfortunately, at some point in time, Toyota withdrew at that time. I'm not going to say why. I'm sure there were reasons for it, but Toyota disappeared. It was Dr. George T. who influenced the Japanese to set up a partnership between him and Toyota to put up one of the most successful companies for automobiles in this country. And you can see practically every other person perhaps drives a Toyota of some sort, including this representation. It did not come from Dr. T. I bought it myself because I thought it was a good car. Now let me just put it this way, Mr. President. It has become the best-selling car in the Philippines and the various to the high-end Lexus. He would eventually go into business in real estate, federal land, medical schools, and hospitals, Manila Doctors, Titiana Nursing School, and of course, it would also include energy, the Global Business Power Corporation. Mr. T owns some power plants in the provinces, and First Metro Investment is the George T. investment arm. Now, Mr. President, let me just say that he is a humanitarian non-pareil. He has been helping many others in terms of creating what you might call the outstanding school teachers of the year. And every year, since the early 80s or the mid-90s, early 90s, he established this outstanding teachers, search for outstanding teachers, and search for outstanding policemen. And I was fortunate enough to be chosen by Dr. T as one of the chairmen of one of the contests where I discovered how weak we were in math. I knew at that time that we were weak in math, but at that time, a young lady from, I believe, Samar or Leyte was selected by us to be the principal winner in the outstanding search for outstanding teachers. Now, Mr. President, apart from that, he has been a great supporter of many underprivileged and marginalized sectors of our society, and remains, enthusiastic in providing aid to many disasters in our country to alleviate human suffering and uplift human dignity. That is why he's one of the millennium partners of the Red Cross, Your Honor. And I started my fundraising career in the Red Cross way back in the 2000 when I formed the Millennium Partnership Movement, where the company of Dr. George T. at that time donated $1 million a year for the next 5 years, Your Honor. And eventually, he would even donate $25 million towards the acquisition of our ship, Your Honor, the Amazing Grace, brand new ship that we acquired in Seattle for the Philippine Red Cross. We'd also be instrumental in every disaster, even abroad, where he would give 10 million pesos at my request for the Japanese that suffered in the onslaught. And I'm sure he did that also because Toyota is his partner. But he coursed it through the Philippine Red Cross, which gave us a certain amount of prestige abroad. Now, Mr. President, he has also helped us in various typhoons, including the one in Cagayan de Oro, Sendong, and also in Pablo, where he gave substantial amounts of money, and at the same time provide us with additional support in terms of other disasters. Recently, Ompong, where he immediately provided us with 1 million pesos, which is now being utilized. We are providing, for example, 10,000 pesos for selected farmers who have become vulnerable, so that they would provide seedlings and they could get their back on their feet. But I suppose the best contribution that a man could be is to become a model for others. In the sense that, you know, here is a person who was born of Chinese ancestry, who probably selected to be a Filipino, and was able to succeed. Now, if a Chinese can succeed in our country, I don't know why not too many Filipinos, or why a lot more Filipinos cannot succeed. And he did so because he was entrepreneurial, he took a lot of risks, and he did so by sheer hard work, and made sure that, you know, something I learned throughout my career is to make sure that we work, save, invest, so we can prosper. And that's exactly what he has done, Your Honor. Work, save, invest, prosper has created a business empire that has been beneficial not only for himself in terms of profits, but certainly in terms of making sure that others profit from his hard work. And that includes many of the partners that he has had through the Metrobank Foundation. He believes in the Red Cross so much that he made sure that his grandchildren were trained by us, and they were only about 10 years old, 9 years old, 11 years old, thereabouts, and he was trained by us at the Philippine Red Cross to make sure that they learned first aid and CPR. And they were not given any privileges. They were treated as ordinary individuals working together with other poor people and well-to-do people in a training program where they learned to do first aid and CPR. And of course, the very example of their grandfather providing for those who are vulnerable and those who have less in life will certainly remain in the minds of these young grandchildren of Dr. T. Ms. Subiri and I are the leaders of the Philippine Red Cross, and I'm sure he joins me along with Sherwin Gatchalian, who is also a governor of the Philippine Red Cross, along with Cynthia Villar, who's also a chairman of the Red Cross in our native town or city of Las Piñas, if I'm not mistaken. And we all appreciate the efforts made by Dr. George T. And on that note, Your Honor, I would like to sponsor this resolution and hope that by tomorrow we can have some form of, unless this Senate President comes, I think it would be honored, giving a big honor to the family is after we make the necessary excerpts in his life that we provide him with this recognition from the Senate, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, with the permission of the senators, if we can make all of the senators authors of this as well, with the permission, of course, of the author, the main author.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. We would like to associate myself. I'd
Yes,
like
Mr.
to
President.
associate myself to the manifestations of the distinguished sponsor from Zambales.
Yes, he was a man full of philanthropy. He really helped a lot of organizations, not just the Red Cross, even the art community. Mr. President, every year we go to their affair. It's called MADE, M-A-D-E, which is the Metro Bank Awards for Design and Excellence, Arts and Design Excellence. And they choose every year the best artists from mixed media to different types of media, Mr. President, and give them the recognition deserving of these new and young artists. So, Mr. President, with the permission of the body, we'd like to move to make all members of the Senate as authors or co-authors of this measure. With that, Mr. President,
So noted.
thank you, Mr. President. With that, we move to adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 952.
Any objection?
Subject to style.
Chair hears none. Senate Resolution 952 is approved and adopted, subject to style.
Mr. President, we all have bicameral conference committees to attend to, and I know the Senate President also has a very important meeting to attend to after this family matters. With that, I move that we adjourn session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Tuesday, November 27, 2018. I so move.
Any objection? There being none, the session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, November 27, 2018.